Welcome back, guys, and today we're here for another video. And so today we'll be covering point slope form, or as you know, the equation I put in my other video where I taught you how to find slope. And so I said that to find point slope form, that'll be another topic for another day, and that day has finally come. So I'm sorry about the week-long break. I know it's been a minute, it's been like a week. I am so sorry about that. I've been at orientation for university, so my apologies. But without further ado, let's get back into it. And so if you remember from my last video, you remember a point slope form is just y minus the y inside the coordinate point is equal to the slope, or is just equal to m, because that is how slope it is. That's how slope is inside the point slope form times x minus the actual x inside the coordinate point. And so you might be confused as to what I'm saying, but don't worry, I will explain it to you right now. So let's just say you had some coordinate points, 2 to 4, and let's say 6 and 8. And then you just label these two, so you're able to find the slope. If you remember correctly, slope is just y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, because you're just trying to find the slope right now, which is just equal to m. So from here, we can just plug everything in. So we can see that the y2 is 8, then the y1 is 4. So we 8 minus 4, and then over x2 minus x1, and then x2 would just be 6, minus x1, which is just 2. And then you just get 1. So as you can see here, the slope is just 1, just to make it simple for you. And so how exactly do you plug it in? And so from here, since we finally found our slope, all we have to do is just plug in the equation using any coordinate point that we get, because the function is always going to remain the same. So let's say we use 6, 8. Let's say we use 6, 8. So from here, what we can do is we can just plug in our equation. So we can see that the y is 8. So we'll do y minus 8 is equal to the slope of 1 times x minus the x inside the corner, which is just 6. And so from here, we can just simplify. We can distribute the 1, which is just going to be 1, because if you multiply anything by 1, it's just itself. So essentially, we just have y minus a is equal to x minus 6. And from here, we can just isolate the y, like solving an equation. And then you'll get that y is equal to x plus 2. And this makes sense because if you were to plug in any x, you will get the same number back. So let's say you just change the y for f of x. It's basically the same thing. So from here, let's say if you were to have f of 2. So you just change the x to a 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. And as we can see here, it actually matches up with the coordinate system, because we can see that if you have 2, then you get 4 out of it. And so remember my domain and range? That will be, domain will be 2 to the 6, and then the range will be 4 to 8. And so let's just do another example to get you familiar with it. So let's just say we have these coordinate points 6 and 7, 6, 7, and then we have 2, 1, just so we can have some negative numbers and maybe some fractions. Who knows? So from here, you would just do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and you just label it so you don't get confused. And so we can see here that y2 is just 1, y1 is just minus 7, and then x2 is just 2 minus x1, which is just 6. So you get negative 5 over 4. I'm sorry, 6. I don't know why my brain thought of that. But if you actually see something, you can see that these numbers, they're actually going to be positive. And why is that? Take a moment, pause the video, take a moment to see why that is. So the reason, if you unpause the video, the reason why that is because you have a -6, then you have a -4. So essentially, these just cancel out. So from there, you just left with 6/4, which is just equal, if you simplify it by 2, 3/2, which is just insane, I know. And it works out well because most of the time, you'll get predictable and think that you should put this coordinate system first. But in reality, it can be in any order, the question could be asked in, or in any order the proctor test, exam, DOL, whatever they want it to be. You cannot get tricked by that. So now that we found our slope, from here we can just plug it in, and we're going to use 2 to 1 to plug it in. So from here, y minus 1, because that's our y, because this is our y, and the x is our 2, is equal to 3/2 x minus 2. So from here, we just solve like it's a normal equation. Now this is interesting because there's some fractions, and listen up. When you're distributing fractions, there's a simple trick you can do. So from here, we distribute 3/2 times x. We just get 3/2x minus 3/2 times 2. If you see that the numerator of your fraction, I'm sorry, the denominator of the fraction is multiplied and equals the numerator of the other fraction, because this is a fraction, this is 2/1, you can just cancel these out. Because if you were to do, the multiplication thing, you would just get 6/2, which is just equal to 3. And from here, we're just left with 3 as well. So, that's a neat little trick if you always want to keep that in mind. And then from here, we isolate y again. And then your slope equation or function would be y equals 3/2x minus 2. And so, again, we're going to put it to the test. We're going to put 6, 7 there. So there's our coordinate system. And if we put in 6, we should get 7. So in order to make this more interesting, we're going to put 7 into the y. I promise you this works. We add 2. So, you're isolating the x in order to find what x is. So, we just add the 2 to the other side in order to isolate the x. So we just have 7 plus 2, which is equal to 9, which is equal to 3/2x. And from here, if you watch my solving x, we could just use a neat little trick called a reciprocal in order to isolate this x. And so then from here, this just cancels out. And so from here, we can just multiply. 2 times 9 is 18 over 3, which is equal to x. And if you simplify, 6 is equal to x. And so everything worked out at the end. If you put in y, you get x. If you put in x, you get y. You cannot miss. You absolutely cannot miss. And this is a neat little trick, for 8th grade algebra or even middle school algebra. If you think that your function is wrong, always put it back in and see if your function gets out the same coordinate. That would be, a way to get to see if your function is working correctly. Because remember, you have to think of your function as a machine. You want it to do what you want, not what the machine wants. And if the machine is not working to your standards, then something messed up inside, your math. So, just check back if your function isn't working correctly. Because again, you want the function to be working at your mind, not the machine's mind. And so that's just a quick little way to find a point slope form. Obviously, if you just wanted to find the point slope form, you could also just keep it, like this. And that would be a way to just, keep it in point slope form, especially if you're in calculus, if you're trying to find, the tangent line, point slope form of a tangent line, then that would be a quick way to, just get the points that you need instead of just simplifying everything. Because for simplification is mostly just used for middle school. But if you're in, let's say, calculus AB or calculus BC, and you're trying to find the tangent line of slope, a derivative or something like that, then you might as well just keep the point slope form unsimplified. Because if you simplify it and you get the simplification wrong, they will not give you points. They will not give you points. They will count it wrong. Well, your answer was wrong. If my memory serves correctly, your work to the setup, no, your work or the setup to the answer would give you points if it's right, but the actual answer won't be right. So that's just a way to just get some extra points on the Calc AB or Calc BC exam. And that's just a way to find points of form. Whether you're middle school, wanting to get ahead, or you're in calculus. Anyone and everyone should be able and can be able to learn this. It will be okay, I promise. So that is point slope form. Thank you for listening. If you liked the video, please subscribe, like, share it to your friends, please. And yeah, that's been the video. Goodbye.